I first saw it, I got excited, like, oh, maybe this is a tool we could use to write about slightly more obscure topics, but as soon as you get very obscure at all, it very confidently just makes stuff up, and that's really useless for us.
Yeah, so this year we've had a lot of debate around, are we getting close, or will we get close to artificial general intelligence? But in a way, Wikipedia is a form of general intelligence because it is so crowdsourced, and the generative AI is still very narrow in what it can do. So I agree you've got the edge now, but how are you going to keep the edge when we get up to GPT 10 and 11 and 12?
Well, I mean, I don't know what the future holds. I mean, I think that's a big kind of existential question for humanity. I think we're still 20 or 30 years away from that. I think that some of the structural problems and the way that large language models work make it actually quite tricky to do the grounding, to do the sourcing. And it seems quite easy to us as humans because we were taught it as, by the way, not artificial general intelligence, but actual human intelligences. We were taught in school, when we were early teens, to like cite your sources and to think about what's quality and what's not, and don't repeat nonsense and so forth. And it's going to take a while for these models to get there. I mean, the point about Wikipedia is it's not only do we have full general intelligence working on Wikipedia, it's not just one.
Yeah.
It's tens of thousands who have different experiences, different backgrounds, engage hopefully and usually in thoughtful discourse to try and figure out what's true. And I think we're just a long way. I mean, I think just if you add up the computational power of all those brains, it still far outstrips what any sort of big company can do with one large language model.
Yeah. So the contributors are your unique asset at the moment. What motivates them? So I guess my real question is, how will you keep them motivated? And then separately, how can you imagine AI improving Wikipedia?
Yeah, so on the first question, I mean, we just have fun. Like if you go on Wikipedia, you start editing, you meet other interesting people, particularly if you're into some fairly obscure niche topic, you'll meet other geeks who are, oh wow, I didn't know there were 17 more people who are as obsessed with bridges as I am, and you meet them and you've got that group. And so that has always been our goal and has always been fun. I don't see people finding that not fun anymore, so I think that part's pretty easy. In terms of how we might use AI to help with the process of Wikipedia, I do think there's some really interesting ideas. Just one of the ideas that I've been playing with is, okay, here's a short entry in Wikipedia, and I can go and find 10 sources about that, and I can ask the AI to say, find me some statements that are in these 10 articles that should be in this Wikipedia entry but aren't. And I think you can do a pretty good job of that. And the truth is, if it's only 70% accurate, that still may be enough of a productivity boost that I find it worth my while to click on a button that says, what does the AI suggest? And then I go through and I go, oh yeah, actually, that should be in there. Or the converse, which is actually probably more important, here's a biography. Find me any negative statements that aren't sourced. And that's like ding, 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 red flag for us. And if we have the ability to do that with a model that runs over all of Wikipedia all the time looking for it, and for the good volunteers who are trying to make sure that Wikipedia is not saying bad things about people, they'll be able to more quickly go. Because sometimes you go to Wikipedia and you're like, oh, I want to work on a biography, but which one? Where's the problem, So I think there's going to be some really interesting low-hanging fruit use cases where large language models could support the work of our community.
And AI is really good at spotting patterns, so maybe it can spot gaps in Wikipedia, where I was reading about one amazing woman who wrote 1,600 Wikipedia pages of under-recognized female scientists. And maybe you're always going to need her to do that, or other sort of committed volunteers, but to spot the gaps, that's something AI can help with.
I mean, it could definitely help with. I mean, often we already have a pretty good sense in the Wikipedia community where we're weak, where we're strong. We try to address that, but it's not always easy because we don't have enough diversity in our community. We need more women editing, we need more people from all around the world editing to help us spot those problems, because there's tons of like really interesting and important stuff that your typical tech geek man is not that interested in, and so therefore we're weak in those areas. And we think we can improve that.
Now, thinking a bit about how generative AI has rolled out this year, or how the product's developed, a lot of these models have been scraping data from all over the internet You're a big chunk of the internet. How do you feel about Wikipedia data being used, or in some cases misapplied, into these models, and you not getting a check for it?
Yeah, I mean, for us, the whole philosophy of Wikipedia, we really come from the free software world, open source ethos. Everything in Wikipedia is freely licensed. You can copy it, modify it, redistribute modified versions, commercially or non-commercially. And we're really happy and proud. Like, okay, if there are large language models, I'm pretty happy that they're reading Wikipedia and not just Elon Musk's Twitter. It's not really a great source of truth. I told him backstage, I will have one whack at Elon. It's always a crowd pleaser.
What did Grok say to that? Have you checked out Grok? The new service that Elon is providing.
I haven't even heard of it, so.
There we go. That was a
I haven't kept up with the news, so. So basically, we're happy with all that. We would like to see attribution. And then obviously if you're going to attribute to Wikipedia, you can't just make something up.
Yep.
And I've tried this. I say, oh, where did you hear that Kate Garvey married Peter Mandelson?
But what do? You
And
write them a letter?
It was in
How do you
Wikipedia.
hold them accountable for that?
I mean, we will see, right? I think as things emerge. I mean, I think at the moment, it's, people understand that ChatGPT makes things up. I think it's really important that they understand that. But when we have, Google quotes us all the time, and Google always links to us. There's best practices that are both part of our license, right, if you're reusing our content, but also just ethical. Like, plagiarizing is bad. But
You also have to keep the license somehow. Like I've received many Wikipedia fundraising messages. Wouldn't it be nice if OpenAI cut your check?
Well, I mean, this goes back to, we can step away from this licensing question. We have an enterprise API feed because people who are using huge amounts of Wikipedia data like Google, they would like to have more of an industrial strength, so we're working with them to do that. And they pay us because it's a service we provide. But I don't think anybody really wants Wikipedia to be beholden to 5 big tech companies as our only sort of important customers. It's really, really important that Wikipedia is supported by the small donations, by the general public. It keeps us accountable to the public. It keeps our community intellectually independent. There's a lot of reasons why our existing model is quite healthy and quite good. And yeah, if the big companies can chip in some money too, that's good, but we want that to be in a balanced way so that we don't end up sort of as a captured it's a problem, by the way, a lot of nonprofits have. If your source of funding is one big foundation or one big high net worth individual who loves your project, you could be at risk if they get bored of your project or they decide you're not doing a good enough job. Your funding can evaporate overnight. Whereas we've got a huge base of donors, over 5 million people a year giving small amounts of money. And that's just really important to keep Wikipedia healthy in all the ways that I think everybody wants us to be, committed to neutrality, to quality, to thoughtfulness, and so forth.
I wanted to tackle trust for a couple of minutes. So people tell opinion pollsters all around the world, again and again, that they have a strong level of skepticism around AI in general. And maybe some of that's a hangover from the social media and platform era and some broken promises there. But I know that you're involved in something called Trust Cafe. Mm-hmm. So what does this AI generation of companies need to do to rebuild trust so that we have a healthier ecosystem that we're all contributing to?
Yeah, so I'm in the process of really working on a lot of ideas about trust. I'm writing a book about trust. I've got a project, trustcafe.io, which I've been kind of keeping under wraps, but it's open. Everybody can sign up, check it out. And the idea is to say, how can we build a new type of social media where the trusted people in the community, who are trusted by the community, actually have power. So it's very much like that wiki model. In terms of the AI companies, the kinds of things that you have to do, that any company has to do, or any product has to do, it's pretty old-fashioned, right? Certainly, I think OpenAI has been quite good about telling everybody, like, by the way, our product has some huge flaws and it makes stuff up. That's not been a secret, and they've not tried to bluster that it's better than it is, and I think that's really important. I think, you know, they are, as far as I can tell, trying to be thoughtful about licensing content, whether that's needed or not, I don't know, but that, you know, that's an emerging area of copyright and all of that, very interesting. But you know, I do think it's very interesting because we're in this moment where it's suddenly a competitive product in the marketplace. And so Bing is using ChatGPT, Google has Bard. I guess you're saying Elon's rolled out something I don't pay attention to.
Open source models.
You've got the open source model. You've got all this activity going on. Whereas I would say, if you rolled back 5 years, I was hearing from friends at Google like, this is going to be amazing, but they were very, very careful about what they released. I think they were trying to be ethical and careful about it, and I think that was the right answer. But suddenly, once it's out there, that doesn't mean people have carte blanche to be unethical, but it does mean they have to sort of move a little faster. You can't say, oh, we're going to think about this for 10 years. The competition is actually there and succeeding and so forth. And so I think we will see a lot of fast improvements, and a lot of problems will come from that.
That's kind of a metaphor for maybe where humanity has been heading. We've all been speeding up in recent years. So maybe let's end on that philosophical note, thinking about future of knowledge or where you think that's all going to go.